Welcome. Thanks for joining me. We've covered a lot tonight. We still got a lot more left to do, especially with our watchdogs. Kirk Allen joins us. He was off last week, but he's back now. John and Kirk, thank you so much for joining me. I always appreciate your stories. Who would like to cover their stuff first tonight?
I can go first, John.
Okay, John. All right, great. Oh, great.
Thanks
We're going to talk about mass transit.
Thanks for having us again. It's -9 right now.
Great.
It's going to drop another 2 degrees before the sun comes up.
Well, global warming, right?
That's right.
Hey, did you see out in DeKalb, brand new solar panels crushed by the snow?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah, post's been out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, you're down in Paris, Illinois, and what's keeping you actually warm is coal and natural gas. Mm-hmm.
For the time being, yes.
Yes, for the time being. Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
You want to talk about a mass transit district out of Vermilion County and Danville, Illinois.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so it's not just the CTA that's corrupt?
No.
Oh, okay. Just well, they got nearly a $2 billion bailout, so that should cover things for them for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I first started looking at the CRIS Rural Mass Transit District back in July or August, when they contracted with Ford County to run rural buses in Ford County when they're based in Danville. And I kind of, I asked the newspaper reporter, I said, is this a public body? He goes, well, doesn't seem like it. She says they're a nonprofit and whatever. Turns out it is a public body. It's a mass transit district. And the first thing that we do with these smaller public bodies, we check the Comptroller's office. And it turns out that these guys have never filed any financial reports with the Illinois Comptroller that they're required to do on an annual basis.
How much do they spend? Because for a while there, annual reports under a certain threshold. No, they always had to file an annual report. It's whether or not it had to be filed online.
Yeah, so the limit is $850,000. They spend well over $850,000. They spend well over that.
Okay.
So I asked them. I said, "Why haven't you filed any reports with the Comptroller?" Well, we don't have to. Really. And this was their attorney responding, and the attorney said that the director contacted this guy in IDOT where she submits the grant reporting to, and he told us we didn't have to send anything to the Comptroller.
Oh my gosh! So the attorney's wrong, the bureaucrat's wrong, the elected official's wrong, and they're not filing reports.
In August, I asked her, can you ask the Comptroller? Well, we don't need to, as IDOT told us we didn't have to. But
wait. The Comptroller is Susanna Mendoza. She's getting ready to run for likely mayor of the city of Chicago. And she's telling me she's on the ball. She knows exactly what's going on. She's checking everything out. She's good government all around.
I filed a complaint about this issue with the Comptroller's office in August. Haven't heard anything back.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Crickets. Okay.
So I looked at the Mass Transit District Act, and they require annual financial reports, and they state that the Mass Transit District is a municipal corporation. So then I looked at the Government Account Audit Act, and that requires the annual reports to the Comptroller. And I looked at the Comptroller's page, which lists every local government and whether or not they have to file a report. And sure enough, there is a mass transit district listed, and all the other mass transit districts in Illinois are listed, except for this one.
Why is this one not listed?
They don't know. They don't know, and they refuse to even ask the Comptroller.
Wait a minute. They don't know. Wait, were they not listed as having to give the report or were they not listed as, or were they not listed because they hadn't given a report?
Both. The comptroller only lists, mass transit districts have to submit a report. The comptroller doesn't know they exist either.
Oh, they don't even know that this district exists?
Same thing happened with our water district about 15 years ago. Our water district went 20, 30 years without filing any reports until we got involved and said, hey, you got to file these. And they didn't believe us, so we got with the comptroller. The comptroller made them file them.
But only after they realized that there's an actual government district out there that is taxing residents and needs to file a report.
Yeah, well, there's no tax levy for water districts or this mass transit district, but they still have to file the reports.
Where do they get their revenue from?
The grants and fees paid for riders.
Yeah. Okay.
And then to top it off, IDOT gave them a failing grade on a transit funding recipient audit, and IDOT sent them a letter on November the 3rd. Did you read that letter?
I did not, but if you're getting a failing grade from an Illinois state agency, it's pretty bad.
Severe deficiencies in financial management, internal controls, and governance. Over the 22, 23, and 24, only 46% of their expenditures contain supporting documentation.
Oh, I mean, this is just like every other NGO that we give grant money to. They're all a scam.
Yeah.
They can't prove anything that they've spent the money on.
Ineligible items charged to grants, violations of the Open Meetings Act.
Oh, my gosh.
So I reviewed their meeting agendas and minutes, and they're right. The meetings agendas are just generic, and then the minutes, it shows that they actually vote on things and not listed on the agenda.
Well, who's the local people that are in charge of this?
Well, the board is made up of people appointed by the city of Danville and people appointed by the county of Vermilion.
And nobody's checking on anybody?
No.
And they're getting over $850,000 in taxpayer grants and fees.
Yeah. They got about 1.2 million during this period, and they rely on. The report said they have a concern of escalating reliance on the line of credit. They increased their line of credit from $366,000 to $819,000.
Did the Minnesota Somalis move there or something?
No, but I figured out they're trying to get the reason why they contracted with Ford County is because they need more funding.
It doesn't sound that way.
And the way to do that is spend a whole bunch of more money transporting people from a different county, I guess. I don't know. Please
make this headache end. Please.
But so that's how it goes. It's uncalled for. The people that were appointed to the board obviously don't know what they're doing.
All right, what's the next step for fixing this? Like, do I need to find some Republican down in Vermilion County and shake him and tell him to get control of things?
Well, IDOT, the mass transit district told IDOT that they'll go ahead and contract with an external auditor. IDOT said no. That underscores our concern that you don't possess the administrative or fiscal financial management capacity to do this. So they appointed the city of Danville to run all their finances until further notice.
Yeah, but the people who did this need to be held accountable for their malfeasance.
I know. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Maybe there's some state's attorney that's supposed to handle this.
This is a state's attorney that doesn't know an open meeting violation when she sees it.
Yeah, we got a problem, folks. Here you go again. Here goes John again. Kirk's going to have some more after this break. Like it's incessant. It's never stops.
Next week we'll talk about the Vermilion County Veterans Assistance Commission.
Well, that sounds like fun.
It's almost as bad.
All right, we do have to go to break, and we'll be right back to hear from Edgar County Watchdog Kirk Allen. You're listening to The Real Story. Welcome back. Let's get right at it. We've got Kirk Allen. He's on the line. And Kirk, why don't we cover Dawson Township? I was reading that story there, and I thought it was very interesting.
Thanks for having us, Jeanne. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Dawson Township, we are still waiting on the state's attorney to even answer an email. The backstory on that: the supervisor and the clerk appears to have embezzled about $200,000. And state police finished their investigation, turned it over for a charging decision. And the timeline on this was what is so interesting. We went to the meeting in November, and everybody was told that it's up to the ISP right now waiting on the investigation. And the attorney for the township stated to John and I right before the meeting that he had spoke to the state's attorney that very day and waiting on the state police is what he was told. We FOIA'd the records and went through the normal rigmarole with, ISP, bogus, excuses. We finally get a proper response, and we get the records confirming an investigation. And lo and behold, they turned it over to the state's attorney for a charging decision October 6th.
What? Over
a month earlier. So we still don't have anything out of the state's attorney's office. And it's just, they're two most, corrupt's probably not the right word. I'll say the two most powerful elected officials in the state of Illinois, state's attorneys and supervisors of assessments. One is supposed to enforce the law, and the other one takes your money. They're the most dangerous offices we have, and they're out of control across this state.
And you,
state's
of
attorney
course,
can't even answer a simple.
And you can't FOIA the information. He's just going to say it's under investigation.
That's exactly what he said.
Mm-hmm. And yet these people are they've basically walked out with $200,000, and they resigned from their positions, but they took allegedly $200,000, and there's been no charging documents yet. And it's pretty cut and dry.
And that's the ironic part. It's so cut and dry.
It's so obvious.
What in the world?
It's so obvious. I mean,
well, Murdoch Township, the same problem. We're going on several months where the state's attorney will say, well, we're going to make a charging decision next week. Still no charging decision.
This is the guy of wait, remind us again. This is the guy who is the highway commissioner there who doesn't live there?
Yeah, he lives in Coles County, but the township is in Douglas County.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he forged what we would look at as a forged document, his voter registration, that the state's attorney gave me in my FOIA. There is no such residence. And he still hasn't made a decision and won't give me the investigation that was completed over a month and a half ago.
So are these state's attorneys busy with drug cases, murders, robberies, burglaries? I mean, what are they tied up with? They can't do this work.
I don't know that they can't do the work. I think it's back to it's a political foundation. These people know each other. They have, they are at the same coffee shops. They go to the same Lincoln Day dinners. These are figures that are basically help them get elected. Political corruption does not get prosecuted in these states. I mean, you've seen this, Jeanne.
Mm-hmm.
We could go on for hours how many state's attorneys don't do their job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. But this is so blatant. You have to prosecute this. So what about you've written a number of these stories. Are you getting any reaction from the locals other than in Dawson Township? You did have the locals come out to that meeting. There was a handful of them, more than normal. But are they making demands of the state's attorney or not?
A few of them are. I know in the Murdoch Township, several of them have contacted the state's attorney's office, and they're madder now because he won't talk to them about any of it. He won't even take their calls. He won't return their calls. Dawson Township, we're going to have to wait till next month when they have their next meeting. They had announced at that November meeting that they probably wouldn't have one in January or in December. So we wrote the story. We exposed it. We do know some have called. But you talk to any of these police officers in these counties, and they'll tell you the same thing. They are so frustrated with the state's attorneys because they will not prosecute this stuff.
Okay. So what are people to do? I mean, other than vote them out of office, and then you have very few people that are qualified for the positions or that actually want to do these jobs in these smaller counties. What else are they to do? Is there anything that they can file, any investigation they can have done on the state's attorney for not following the law?
No, because the courts say that he's got prosecutorial discretion. And that's the argument. Even though that language is nowhere in the law, they always throw that out, that they have discretion. Well, I'd like to know who gave them the discretion. The violation of law, prosecuted. Mm-hmm. Now, Senator Connolly, when he was a senator, he drafted legislation to address this problem and make a more or less an office of an inspector general or a prosecutor that would prosecute nothing but public corruption. It would take it out of the hands of the local state's attorneys. It never made the light of day.
Well, I just want
to fix this problem.
Yeah. Okay. So, voters can fix it. That's one way that they can fix it. But, if they don't want to fix it, there's really no other solution. I don't get it. But how do you let somebody basically walk away with $200,000? How do you do that?
I wish I could,
and say that you're doing your job.
If I could figure out the answer to that, it's mind-boggling. You can't make this stuff up. Mm-mm. It's so egregious. It's so obvious. And here we are, still nothing.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we will talk to you next week. We'll have more to discuss, and hopefully you'll get some updates and some movement on these cases. In the meantime, if you're listening and you're in Dawson Township or Murdoch Township, go ahead, contact your state's attorney and ask them what they're doing. They need to be responsive to you. That's what needs to happen here. So, all right. Thanks a lot, guys, for your work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. As we leave tonight, I just wanted to play this short clip. This is Fernando Mendoza's Heisman Trophy acceptance speech. What an incredible, incredible young man, and what he said to begin with. Take a listen.
The winner of the 2025 Heisman Trophy is Fernando Mendoza.
Stops by, greets his mother, greets his father, greets his coach, makes his way up. Really, what a remarkable moment.
Great job, bro.
What you hear him say at the beginning is what he also said on the field when they won the Big Ten championship. His opening remarks are the same as what he said on the field.
The Indiana Hoosiers have a Heisman Trophy. This one is yours. It weighs 25 pounds. Give it a lift. It carries a lot more weight than that.
I'm at a loss of words. Wow, thank you to everybody. Thank you to everybody. First, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to chase a dream that once felt the world away. Standing here tonight, holding this bad boy, representing Indiana University, still doesn't feel real. If you told me as a kid in Miami that I'd be here on stage holding this prestigious trophy, I probably would have laughed, cried like I'm doing now, or both. Because this moment, it's an honor. It's bigger than me. It's a product of a family, team, community, and a whole lot of people who believed in me long before anybody knew my name.
His speech went on, and he's had a lot more to say. It was about 7 minutes long, and I highly encourage you to just listen to it. And what a remarkable guy. But even on the field, right after winning the Big Ten championship, his first words were giving all the glory to God. Really appreciate his faithfulness. Wish some of our own elected officials ever gave glory to God. They don't, but that's another story. All right, we'll be back next week. Live show, lots of new content coming. We're not going on Christmas break. We'll be back next week. See you then.